There are two ways to create a component. First is by doing it manually, and second, doing it via Angular CLI. Before we begin, let's go to your application and go to app.component.ts. Basically, this is a component. It has a component decorator and the template URL. So, let's do something similar to this. First, let's go to our source folder and then to app, then do right click, the new file. Here, let's create a component called stocks. The first step is to do an import. So first, type import component, then from Angular core. Now, let's add the add component decorator. In here, you'll see the list of attributes that our component has. For this example, we simply use the selector and template. So here, I'm going to add selector. And let's just type stock. Then second, add template. Here, we'll just make it very simple. So we can add each one. And that's it. Lastly, we create our class. Just type export class, then stocks component. And that's it. Here's our component class. In here, you will see the selector and template. Basically, a selector is an CSS selector, which maps our front end to our component. So here, you can type stock or stocks. You also notice that we use a very simple template for a component. In here, I just add a simple h1 element for a view. And that's how you manually write a component. Now, let's move on to create a component using Angular CLI. But before that, let's add a terminal on our IDE. To do that, simply go to View, and then click the integrated terminal. And as you see over here, you will see the terminal, where you can issue different commands, such as ls, clear, and npm commands. Now, we're ready to create our component. First, let's go to our app folder, which is over here. So, let's type source, then app. Now, let's issue this command, ng g, then component. This is the command for Angular CLI to create a component. Then lastly, the name of our component. And as you see over here, our component has been properly created. We have a CSS file, an HTML file, a spec.ts, and our main TypeScript file. Also, it includes an index.ts. Wow, isn't it that easy? Now, let's check our files. Simply go to your app folder. And here, you'll see the brand new files. Let's select mutual fonts component.ts. In case that you see this warning, simply load your VS Code and it'll be fine. Just use Command P and then do a reload. And once done, the warning will be gone. With Angular CLI, we have created a component with different files and styles. As you can see over here, it had created us a component with a selector, a template URL, which links to the component HTML, and then it also has the style URLs, which contains our CSS files. And lastly, it also creates the spec.ts files, which contains our tests. Again, if you encounter this warning, simply reload your VS Code IDE and should be fine. Now, going back to our component.ts, you can see that it added a constructor and an ng-on-init method. And that's it. That's how you create components in Angular 2. As you can notice, you can use Angular CLI to create and simplify the method in creating the actual component and its supporting files, such as its CSS, HTML, and even test files.